everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
Are you ready with me to get scammed at the $78 million mansion party?
Smiling cause you know I know.
So she going to an influencer mansion party. It's a $78 million mansion that apparently everybody was calling it a scam.
I hit you good, you're sleeping.
Let me know y'all's thoughts in the comments, and let's hope I don't get scammed. Get ready with me to get scammed at the $78 million mansion party. Now, before we get into the fraud, I just want to ask you one question. If you, as a content creator or just a normal person, got invited to go to an event where it was not required of you to create anything for work, create any content, make any deliverables, just simply accept the invitation and show up, what do you expect for the person who invited you to pay for your flight as well as your hotel? The answer would be no. Now, if you're up to date with this whole $78 million mansion party, then you'll know that's one of the main complaints from the girlies. As someone who's been in the content creation game for years on end, when we are invited to events, whether in-state or not, unless that brand is either requiring deliverables of you or they want to guarantee your attendance, or if it is a brand trip, those are the only scenarios where you should expect travel to be included and feel very wronged if they tell you that you have to cover that yourself. However, if you are just simply being invited to an event, that always means you have to cover your own way of getting there. And if you do not want to cover your own way of getting there, that is simply fine to just say no. Worthiness is subjective. You have to determine how much this event is going to benefit you if you do want to come out of pocket to attend. There have been a few events that I've been invited to where I decided to cover my own travel, my own room and board, because I knew how important it would be for me to attend based off the connections I would form by me attending. But once again, that was my choice. And if it's not sensible for me to pay for my own travel, then I simply decline the invitation. If the brand said we want you to for sure make a TikTok or Instagram and we're not paying for you to attend, then absolutely I would understand the argument. However, it seems like people just heard 78 million mansion and Rolls Royce and girl just went crazy. Also feel like the power of discernment is very important to have here, because I saw a lot of talk about how this event was a scam, but when it comes from official brand email addresses, they're not asking you to pay for anything, and you see it's being put on by reputable brands, you use your power of discernment to decide if you're going to go. Which is why social media is a dangerous place. A lot of the discourse was said by people who were not invited and are not attending. Also, when it came to bringing different guests, the verbiage of the initial email said that you can request up to 3 people, but those 3 people weren't going to be guaranteed until they confirmed. So far, the only thing that's been like a red flag to me is when it comes to the rideshare situation. They're not using Uber or Lyft, which brands typically do. They're using something else called Fetty, which is for a group ride. And when you go to these events, you're going by yourself, especially when it was stated that additional people can't come. Oh. So girl, I'm about to head out to the event. Keep checking my TikTok for updates to make sure I'm not taken.
So I was minding my business today and I kept getting sent and tagged in this specific video by this influencer named Crystal. Apparently she's a young black influencer out of Texas, and she went to the Static Nails event, which I made a video about a few days ago about how I was not going to that event that I got invited to. And the video that she made, it was definitely very shady. Now, this girl is apparently from Texas or wherever she is from. However, I'm from Philly, okay? Born and raised from Philly. And one thing that we have always been taught here in Philadelphia is that you don't go digging for what you cannot take back. Now, a few weeks, maybe months ago, during the Cowboy Carter era, I saw her content and I saw she was getting her hair done by one of the hairstylists. I don't know if it was a friend or not, but the way she talked to that man in front of his face while he was trying to work, I could tell a few things about this girl. First and foremost, she hasn't been checked in a long time, because if she would have did that in Philadelphia, absolutely the hell not. Secondly, her energy is weird. And thirdly, her spirit is nasty. I will never understand her kind, because the video that she posted about the event, she literally threw shade at Black creators, Black women influencers, other cultural women influencers, and defended a brand event that she's allegedly not even getting paid for. She did subliminally throw shade. However, like I said, I'm from Philly. So Crystal, I'm going to try to most eloquently explain the points that you said in your video, because I don't understand how you could defend a brand that is allegedly not paying you. You probably don't even use their products. Mind you, it's a press-on nail product. And you're going to throw shade at female creators, minority female creators that were genuinely concerned about, 1, their safety, 2, their worth, and 3, if this was even a real thing. First and foremost, she didn't even have to make this defending the brand. I would just like to say that. The whole video, I think it was like 5 minutes or something, the whole video was unnecessary. You could have just went to the event and shut up, to be honest. Secondly, she said things like, oh, the brand isn't responsible to pay for room and board. The brand isn't responsible to pay for flights. If you want to go to the brand event, then show up. If you don't, then don't. Okay, Crystal, now hold your horses, because I don't know what brand events you go to. However, the brand events that my friends that are influencers that have bigger followings than me, and that I also have been to and been a part of, deliverables or lack of deliverables does not always mean no compensation or compensation. What do I mean by that? I mean that some of my influencer friends have literally gotten paid for eating a salad. Some of my influencer friends have gotten paid at least 10 grand for literally posting just on their Instagram stories. Not a full post on the grid, not a full post on the TikTok page, Instagram stories. Very light deliverables, $10,000. Now, yes, 2 things can be true. When brands have events that are local or equidistant, being whether it's in the DMV and you're in New York, easy accessibility, they might not pay for, flights or hotels or things like that. This event was in Dallas, Texas. They were inviting people from Canada, Los Angeles, Chicago, the Bahamas, and Philly. Naturally, influencers are going to ask if they can get their room comped, or if they can get their flight taken care of, or some type of compensation, because living in this economy, specifically for micro influencers with anywhere from 10,000 followers to 90,000 followers, they're probably taking off from their real W-2 jobs and using their real money to go ahead and pay for these flights or hotels. So asking for compensation would be something that is normalized in this type of world. Now, for the people like me that are 100K and up, usually brands do cover these things. Now, Crystal, I don't know what you have been invited to. However, what I have been invited to, being on international television, speaking on panels, speaking at my alma mater 3 times since I graduated in 2018, and I didn't go to a small school, okay? Also being, with multi-billion dollar and multi-million dollar brands that have these types of budgets that can pay for room and board, especially when they have a set guest list, this was not a questionable thing to, 1, ask for compensation, and then 2, to ask for room and board and or flights to be covered, because it was not a local event for a lot of the people that they were inviting. Now, let's get into the deliverables that they did say. They gave us content ideas. That was on the attachment. They gave us do's and don'ts. That was on the attachment. So if you're asking us to do certain things and to not do certain things and to look a certain way and to wear a product that some people got PR and some did not, I do think that you can ask for compensation, especially if we're giving free marketing. So yeah, to your point, getting a flight or a hotel is not nothing, babe. Pick one. We can use the American Express points. That's not a problem. The principle of the matter that you fail to see is there was safety issues, there was demands that were insane, and also the fact that they were not willing to comp when they were asking people to travel out of the country. We're not doing that. The second to last point, Crystal, that I want to hit is you said that these influencers might be excited because there's Rolls Royces and mansions that are present at the event. We're not going to do that. We're not going to speak for people because you don't know these other influencers. Speaking for myself, multi-room estates have been in my family since the 70s and Rolls Royces have been in my family's possession since the 80s. Please do not assume that just because we're influencing that we grew up like you did. Nobody was hyped. Nobody was excited. Of course, a brand event would be fun, but honestly, if the deliverables and the compensation does not match, it's a no for me. The third point that I would like to say that you said to use your discernment. And I think it's funny how you brought my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ into this. My Holy Ghost apostolic spirit told me not to go because of the amount of red flags that was present, the amount of inconsistencies with communication, and also the fact that that specific brand overpromised and under-delivered. Reviewing your content before I blocked you, because I do not want to support anything that you have furthermore, I saw that you post pretty much 100% of your life on your platform, probably because you have to. TikTok or social media looks like your bread and butter. For me, it is not. I post 5% because I enjoy the community. You post 100% because you enjoy the money. Posting 100% because we need to is not for all of us. However, I can tell it's definitely for you, specifically on how you posted the clickbait titles on your videos. Not being scammed at the $78.2 million mansion. You need the views, and it's okay. But for some of us, we value our community more than the check. However, what I will never understand is how you sat there for 5 minutes recording a shady ass video, literally making subliminals against the influencers like myself. Mind you, I have the biggest video right now that's talking about this event against influencers of color, against women influencers that were genuinely concerned about the authenticity of this event, about their own safety, and about the crazy communication issues and the overpromising and under-delivering that this brand executed with this specific event instead of just shutting up and going. And for that, Crystal, we will never be the same. And oh, before I leave, since we're talking about checking shades, your foundation does not match your neck.
Sydney lied to y'all about the $78 million mansion party, and I have the receipts. I have been holding off on responding because so much has happened, and I wanted to make sure that I waited until after the event to respond to anything. Originally, I was going to respond to Sydney's video, you know, the one that went viral for all of the negativity surrounding the $78 million mansion party. And although she's entitled to her own opinion, some of the things that she said was actually not true. But now, of course, more has happened, and people think that Crystal was shading Sydney in her video. And that has turned into a whole new conversation. Now, let me be clear. I am a micro-influencer who, yes, indeed, got invited to this event. And yeah, I know y'all see that little 11 point something here on TikTok, but not too much, because my bread and butter is over there on Instagram. I got like roughly 60K or whatever. So if you want to follow me over there. Now, I went to the event. I traveled all the way from Columbus, Ohio. OH! Yeah, somebody better comment IO in them comments. But yeah, I went, I traveled, and I had an amazing time. And I'm making this video coming from an educational perspective, especially for my influencer girlies. Whether you're a nano, a micro, an aspiring influencer, this video is for you. Not for the people that are out there that just want to sip the tea. Although I know that majority of the comments are going to be from those people. But if you are somebody that's truly trying to grow in this space, then I need you to hear me and hear what I'm saying in this video, because there are truly some important takeaways. Now, before we get into this video, a lot of y'all were chewing me up in my last video talking about my bonnet. Like, God forbid a black girl wear a bonnet in her own house. But so y'all can take me seriously, let me go change. Okay, is this better now? And yes, I'm covering up my head because I didn't do my edges. Mind your business. Okay, so here's the thing. Everybody's saying that their main concern was that Static Nails didn't have any black representation on their page. And listen, trust me, I hear you. That's a real conversation, but we're gonna get to that later. But let's be so fucking for real. That did not come as a main concern until after Static Nails confirmed that this was a real event. The initial concern was that it was a scam. They were comparing it to some influencer event that happened in Houston. I don't know about y'all, but if you go in all the comments, everybody was talking about, oh, y'all better use y'all's discernment. This is the scam. I'm about to pull up to the place and see if it's really a real thing. And personally, I think the whole reason why people even started talking about this was because Static Nails invited a lot of micro influencers and even a couple of nano influencers. So what comes with that territory? Well, a lot of people that have not been invited to events this big. Of course, if you've never been invited to something this big, you're gonna wonder if it's a scam or if it's not a scam. But baby, nothing about that invitation screamed out fake. The email literally came from Static Nails domain, and I even made like an educational video for micro and nano influencers to tell if an invite was legit or not, or a collaboration, or just any email coming from a brand. Now, here's what I think really happened. A smaller creator went online and said, I got invited to an event. Is this real or not? And then people started commenting like, oh, I thought that it was fake too, or it's a scam. And then the non-influencers started adding their little 2 cents in. I personally don't think that the creator that initially created this video was trying to start any drama, but then it just got a little messy. And honestly, it became a safety issue. Now, here's the thing. There were so many big, I'm talking about any I can't take myself seriously. I'm talking about big influencers that we did not know were attending this event until like day of, when they started posting their get ready with me's. And the reason why I bring that up is because clearly they do this. In other words, sometimes you gotta learn how to shut the fuck up, ride the wave, and not talk about the event until after. But once people started talking about the event, it was already out there. But like I said, moving forward, ladies, let's keep it cute. Let's keep it very cute, very pure. Let's just not talk about these types of events until like we get there, because we see events like this all the time from like L'Oreal and Fenty and like all of those cute little brands. We typically see like a recap of the event, but we never know that the influencers are going to the event until, well, they've already been at the event. I hope y'all back there taking notes, because I'm not even halfway done. We finna get into the tea. Now let's talk about the whole +3 thing. In the email, it specifically states for us to confirm if we were attending or not, and that it was first come, first served. We also had to fill out a Google Doc that said word for word, you're also welcome to request up to 3 fabulous girlfriends to accompany you. Once confirmed, we'll send all the chic invite details your way. And that's the key, once confirmed. So when Cindy went online saying that Static Nails let us invite a +3 and then took them away, yeah, baby, that's just not true. It literally was never confirmed. In the Google Doc, which I don't have access to anymore because clearly the event is done and over with and I forgot to screenshot it, it stated somewhere in there that if your +3 was invited, that you would be responsible for relaying all the information to them, that they were not responsible for that. So for me, I had people on standby. So to Cindy's point, was it last minute? Yes. Were they going to have to pay a little extra more coin to get there because it was last minute? Also, yes. That was their choice if they wanted to be in that room, surrounded by those people. But the way Cindy told it had people thinking that they had given us official invites, and then they took those official invites back. And that's just false. The +3 were never confirmed. And honestly, I think it worked better that way, because if the +3s were there, then we probably would have been surrounded around our friends versus focusing on the whole networking aspect. But because we all went there solo, we had to talk. Okay, baby, we had to talk it out. Like I stated earlier, I was probably one of the smallest creators. When I tell you so many people followed me, engaged with my content, even sent me DMs, like the girls were girls for real, not for fake. I really personally believe that the people that were supposed to be in that room were in that room. Now, Cindy also spoke about how people were not getting compensated. And yeah, that's true, but it's also normal. Now, from my experience, you do not typically get paid for going to events, not unless they are expecting deliverables for you, or you're some type of talent or special feature at the event. You just typically don't get paid for that. This particular event did not require for you to post. Most events like this are for networking, and for the brand, it's for some type of launch party that they are doing. So they are launching a new product or something of that sort. But once the scam narrative started squirming around, all of the posts turned into come with me to get scammed instead of the normal recap video. She also called it a red flag that the event invitation was sent 2 weeks prior to the event. Now, I need for y'all to hear me on this, especially my influencer girlies, because here's where the education part comes in. If you are in the entertainment industry, it doesn't matter if you're an influencer, an athlete, an actor, an actress, anything in the entertainment like industry, ready, you've got to be ready to get up and go. That's why a lot of people move to those states where there's a lot of stuff happening, so it's easier to go. Like me, for example, I live in Columbus, Ohio, and today is Saturday, but I got back from Dallas yesterday, and yesterday, don't you know, I received an email to go to a movie screening for next Tuesday. That gives me, hold on, wait, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That gives me 4 days to make a decision. And for real, less than that, because I got to let them know. So for real, I have a couple of days to determine if I want to drive 2.5 hours away to Cleveland, or if I'm just going to stay my ass at home. So I honestly wouldn't say that that's a red flag. It's just kind of how the industry works, unfortunately. Okay, so let's also talk about the nails off requirement that Cindy mentioned in her video. Yeah, that just was not true. They did offer a nail activation at the event, and they suggested coming with like a clean palette so that you can get your nails done. If you wanted to, it was not a requirement, because baby, who was finna take these off? However, they did give me some nails to try. So whenever, you know, I need like a little quick fix, I will be putting on my press-ons.
So the gag is, you guys all got played. Now listen, I am a person who has an MBA, so I can speak to the business acumen of this particular situation. Every one of you who went to that event and did not get paid for it got scammed. And I'm not really saying anything bad about the organization. They actually won. They did exactly what they needed to do in order to get the free press that they needed to get. And I feel that as an up-and-coming content creator, it is so important for you all to understand business acumen and to know when somebody is doing something to get clickbait. And I appreciate that, because this is all about business, and you guys have to understand what they were doing. First of all, they are a huge organization, okay? They're going to be in Target. So this is not a small up-and-coming brand. This is a brand that has solidified their space in the market, and they wanted to get some energy and some reaction to their product. So what did they do? They rented out a huge mansion, a $78 million mansion, so that people would be excited about going. As if you are from where I'm from, then you know you probably have never stepped foot into a $1 million mansion, let alone a $1 million neighborhood, right? And you know, all of you guys come from different social economics classes and statuses, and that's amazing. But if someone invites me to a $78 million mansion, I'm going for the kicks and giggles. I want to see what the tile look like. I want to see what the rooms look like. I want to see what the bathrooms look like. I am curious just to go. So of course they reached out to micro influencers, because you know, big time influencers, they know not to play with them, okay? I mean, they may have had some guts, but I really doubt that they reached out to some of the big name people. But moving on, they reached out to micro influencers, people who would be very excited about going to a $78 million mansion. Now, they gave them some trinkets. Now, we all know trinkets come with every single event. I mean, you can go to Sephora, or you can order something from Nordstrom or Bloomingdale's and get lots of trinkets. We all love trinkets, but that's not what they were looking for. They were looking for people, influencers, to come on this app and to talk about them, right? Because nothing stirs the pot like controversy, okay? That is marketing 101. Stir the pot, get some controversy, and get people talking about what they should or should not have done. Because guess what you guys are mentioning? You're mentioning their name. And everybody knows press is press. Good press, bad press, it doesn't matter. As long as you're saying their name every single time you can, trust me, they're getting exactly what they need out, okay? Because now everybody's going to be going into Target, and whether they resonate with the brand or not, whether the nails are good or not, because guess what? Regardless of whether those nails stick on your fingers or not, we all know the name, we all know who started it, and we all know that they were big enough to rent out somebody's $78 million mansion. And so when you're going, it's called marketing, it's a marketing strategy. It's like literally it's psychological marketing, right? So when you go into the store, when you go into Target, you're gonna know, and you pass that nail salon, you're gonna know their name. So instantly, you're gonna be curious about whether the products are good or not. And the funniest thing is, everything was so focused and featured around the setup and, you know, the clothes and the idea and the fact that it was like Legally Blonde. No one talked about the actual product. Y'all, I am laughing, and I'm not going to mention them because they're not paying me to do that. But listen, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. No one talked about the product. No one put on the nails. Where's the nails? Where are the nails? So again, this is why you guys have to stand on business. If you're going to be a person who's going to stand behind a brand, I don't care if I get invited or not. You're gonna have to compensate me. Now, yes, there are some things that I will go to for free, but again, this was their marketing strategy and their marketing ploy. They wanted to get people talking about them.
Hey, what to do, everyday people, man? See, now there you have it. She gave us a whole breakdown of what they was actually trying to do. This was a party last year, and you know, the stories be storying.
Diminishing a black woman's character is never a stepping stone I have to use to reach success. I make a response video regarding a viral trending topic that multiple women of different races are talking about, and in response, I get a video made about me disparaging my character directly. A video that tries to deteriorate who I am as a content creator, a video that directly comes from me as a person, my character, my worth, my status, my upbringing. Never did I mention anyone's names, but the shoes are obviously fitting, so they're wearing it. I am not and was never and never needed to be a mean girl or someone who disparages or tries to diminish someone else's character. That's not for me to do. I have succeeded and become very successful in life, not taking that route. And I will continue to never take that route. If you know anything about me or my content, you know exactly where I come from. You know exactly who I am. You know exactly what I've overcome. And I never have to stoop to a level so small to try to get my point across. To know me is to know I uplift my community. I am from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I rep it very proudly. We are the mecca of black culture, okay? And that's something that I do not take lightly, and I uplift black women in every way I can. And if there is something that I want to specifically speak to a creator about on this app, I will contact said creator, and I will never make a think piece, 8 minutes by the way, disparaging and talking directly to said creator, but then block said creator, so said creator cannot even see it. To say I am discrediting, devaluing, speaking negatively towards black women when I made a response video not in target of any race and responding to multiple videos I've seen of women of multiple races making, and then you turn around and make a video 3 times its length directly tearing down one black woman directly, is where I draw the line. I am a content creator who has been in this industry for years and have worked with a multitude of brands and also have a great rapport in this industry. And that's something that I do not take lightly whatsoever. So when I gave my response video, it's coming from a place of experience since I actually have been on these multitudes of brand trips and I have been all around the world with different brands and invited to multitudes of events. It is in no way, shape, or form trying to directly target any woman, especially not a black woman. And to have been shown that video and to hear the things that you say and the ways in which you speak is honestly more of a shed of light onto your character versus trying to shed a light onto mine. I never directly stated anyone's name in my content. Anything that you felt was towards you was an assumption because you felt like the shoe fit. Like I said, my video was in response to a variety of creators of all different backgrounds. And I never have to ride a brand's coattail because I have them coming to me in the masses. And lastly, yes, I am very proud of what I've built for myself, the life I live. And absolutely, 100% am doing this on my own and through content, which I'm sorry, but that's aspirational for me because I'm very happy to see how far I've come considering what I've been through in the past. And that's something that no one can ever make me feel terrible about because I know who I am. I know where I come from. I know where I'm going. And I know I never have to directly disparage another person's character to get there.
What to do, everyday people, man? It's your boy PJ. Today we back with another lit video. All right, man. So that was just her response to the 8-minute video, the first 8-minute video. The second 8-minute video came from a woman responding to the first 8-minute video. And now the other lady who has the MBA was just saying a lot of the small influencers scammed. They got nothing out of it. Now, I'm going to just tell y'all this. Like, I've been trying to get, I be trying to get brand deals, but I be getting stuff. You know, I get stuff all the time, especially when I was when I first started YouTube, I would get so many like beard stuff, head shavers, things of that nature. Like, cause I was sharing, I was selling free birds. I still have, not it's the free birds, it's Freedom Grooming. Freedom Grooming, or I think it's called Free Bird now. But I get free shavers. I don't get them no more, but I was getting them, and I still have a QR code. I mean, not a QR code, but a discount code. I got a discount code, and I make you know, a little change that goes to my PayPal every now and then. You know what I'm saying? So still to this day, my video still gets viewed, and people still use my discount code, and they still get money back, and I still get a little bit of money for it. It ain't a lot, but when I first started, I was getting a little. You know, it was better than nothing, because I sure wasn't getting nothing from YouTube. I wasn't even monetized on YouTube when I got that brand to, you know, do some work with them where I was receiving products and receiving pay from them. So I wasn't getting paid from YouTube, but I was getting paid from them. So when you talk about linking with brands, don't be afraid to, you know, even if you take a chance and you get little pay, that's your learning. You learn to utilize brands. You learn to get the products out there. You learn your audiences. So don't be afraid. But the one thing is, when you get these emails, I could just show y'all how many emails I have with people claiming to be, you know, some type of influence. Like, it's like 3 of them, like back to back to back. They just in there, you know. And I check what I do is I check the emails. I check the name, I check the email address, I check the name, I check the website, you know, just to see what brands it is and how they're working. And then, you know, you take a chance. But again, don't get scammed, you know. Don't give out your personal information. So if y'all want to be an influencer, it's a lot more than just, you know, getting on YouTube and making a few videos. You got to really put some work in if you really want to make some real money on your own that you don't have to worry about getting from YouTube. And I'm talking about thousands. If, you know, if I keep it up, I could get thousands. I made some decent change from small brand deals. Remember Moog's Coffee? I made a little bit of money from them, and people was purchasing their coffee. I even gave some away. We had Freedom Grooming. I was supposed to do another head grooming deal, but I didn't like the product, and I wasn't about to stand behind it because it didn't work for me, and I don't think it'll work for anybody. I just thought it was a poorly made product, and I just won't do it. You know, and it's people that want to give me some beard stuff. So, but I don't know. I'm good with the products I use. You know, beard is still shiny, and I ain't put nothing on it because it's healthy.